Now, whenever I have a day that I can get out on the open road with the GS, I just think this is a special day for me. It's a trip down memory lane. And every time I go around a corner or I go to an airport or a marina or somewhere, a lake, I think of rides that I've been on now in 77,000 plus miles and 41 years of owning this bike and having two of them and having evil twins. There's no end to the memories that I have. And some are not that good. I remember coming back from Lake George and it didn't stop raining for the whole ride back. That's not a lot of fun when it's not real warm. And I remember some good rides that I'll never forget. And all the time of going up to Greenwood Lake in a boat and down to Teterboro Airport to go take a ride in the air coupe. Just wonderful, wonderful memories. Now, we actually have started the very best time of the year. It's not too hot, not too cold. The weather's just been spectacular. Even though today they're predicting rain this afternoon, I'm going to get out early on the GS and burn some fuel. I don't want to waste even one day at this time of the year. This is a very special time of year. So the first thing, as it always is to move the bikes around. This is always the most fun you can have in the morning because I want to get the GS out and get it prepped up and pre-flighted and get out of here. Now, even just getting the bikes out of the garage and moving things around, having some coffee in the morning, I like to get everything ready. Now, and I'm a creature of habit. And one of the memories I have very clear is many times I was in a rush to get out and I skipped some steps. I didn't check the air, I didn't check this or whatever. And a couple times it came back to bite me. So all the memories of these old bikes. And when you're riding old bikes, it's a great idea to check them every time you ride them. And I tell people that and they poo-poo my idea. They think it's not necessary. Well, but then you have to push it back if you get a flat. And I have had, of all things, I've had flats on the MT-09, two of them already. So I'm a believer, and I like to keep the bikes clean. That's just another thing. Now, the thing with a bike like this, it's 41 years old, and the problem is I can go buy a new R1 or an MT-09, but I can't buy a new GS. So I tend to really overdo the cleaning and overdo the checking everything and keep the brake dust off the wheels and anything I can do to preserve this, because the reality is, and my good friend Andy Lee reminded me many times when we saw each other, he wanted to buy this bike at one time, and he says, you know, you can buy a new bike anytime, but you just can't buy one of these classics. And for people that like modern bikes, and I like modern bikes too, but there's something about these older bikes. I know when Joe Padula got his eyeballs were wide open when he rode this one, and I'm sure the ride we went on up to the airport to see the bomber. And there's just something about older bikes. I don't know what it is, even the RD or this one. And what it is for people like me, it's the memories. It's memories. That's what it really is. It's nothing but the memories of things when you were younger. In this case, when I was 41 years younger, we used to do some hooligan things, and stuff maybe we'd frown on right now. We'd laugh at other people if they were younger than us and they did it. But we did it back in the day. And when I look back, not all memories are good, but you remember them all. And there's so many good memories with this bike. So many times I'd take this bike up to Greenwood Lake or up to Nairobi Airport or Teterboro Airport, or the rides up to Lake George, just endless. It's just endless. So after we get the fish fed and do whatever chores Karen has for the farm and go check out all the plants, everything's in bloom. We're already harvesting things every day. Radishes, tomatoes are already started to grow. Her roses are growing up the fence into the neighbor's yard. We got some really nice lilies blooming already. But as much fun as the old memories are, what this day is about is to try to make some new memories and try to find some roads that'll be fun to ride on and not a lot of traffic and a bright, beautiful, sunny day.
One of the appealing things about this bike, it's an old school bike. No quick shifter, no ABS. You really have to ride it. It doesn't ride you. It definitely is old school. It reminds me, there was a time I had this bike, a boat, and an airplane. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I woke up in the morning. And one thing I love about this bike is the power band. You go through the gears, you don't have to redline it out and max out anything. The torque comes right down low, it's beautiful. In every way, a bike can be comfortable, easy to ride. It's just a sweet bike and very easy to maintain. And one of the convenient things on a day like today, on any day that you ride, is knowing you got almost a 200-mile range before you even have to hit reserve with this bike. It's just, that is such a convenient, handy thing. And I wish I had it on all my bikes, to be honest, but this one in particular, great range. And one of the things, I pass the Lincoln Park Airport one way or the other almost every day when I'm out riding, and I try to ride every day, of course. And there's always something cooking up there. The other day they were giving free airplane rides to the kids. That was nice. And I noticed this about a month ago, this company, Taurus, they had electric airplanes. They were assembling them, and they really didn't want you out there, I don't think, but for liability purposes. But they have a really big hangar where they're assembling them, and actually they come over and look at the bike. I thought that was pretty cool. So this is what one of them looks like when they're all put together. But how many times I'd ridden this bike down to Teterboro Airport, parked the bike, everybody come over, look at the bike in the parking lot, jump in the air coupe, go for a ride, come back, land the plane, get back on a bike, ride up to Greenwood Lake, jump in a Sutphen. I had a 19-foot Sutphen. I was like a rich kid. That was a not really rich kid. But Ray will remember every one of those memories. One of the few things annoying about this bike is I haven't figured out a proper way to mount up the Valentine radar detector. So I'm always playing it a little safe and cautious, but maybe that works to my advantage too in the long run. I don't know. Now, Luciano will have a good memory. Today it was about 35 degrees and I had gone up around the lake, came back and the battery went dead. I stopped to take some pictures of guys ice fishing, and he came and rescued me with that rescue battery, and that's what got me to buy one. I passed this mailbox, and this is pretty, I'm sure it's an antique. That is pretty cool. I'd like to have that in my backyard. Another memory I will never forget is I took this bike down to watch the AMA races in Millville. It's about a 4 hour ride one way. And on the way back, it had gotten cloudier and cloudier, and the rain, and coming up the turnpike. Oh my God, I just never forget that day. Great memories. Another memory I ran into somebody who had a GS, and they were amazed that I was running tubeless tires for the whole time I owned the GS, except for the first set, I guess. They were amazed, and I said, I don't know what to tell you. I've never had a problem running Michelin tires. And maybe I missed the boat on it, or maybe I really don't know, but this is going to be probably 39, 40 years that I've been using tubeless tires, and maybe I'm wrong. So don't take my advice on that. And if you see 90-degree valve stems, curvy girls especially, or any of them, that's a pretty good tip-off that the person is using tubeless tires. Pretty good test. I still think no matter what angle you look at it or what side you look at, this is still one of the most attractive bikes of all time to me. And whenever I post a GS video, I always have somebody who posts a comment, "Oh, I wish I had mine back. I sold it." And they see the video, and it brings back some memories, of course, and they wish they didn't sell it. And when I got the second one, Ray Straub graciously went down to Philly with me, and we used his van to bring it back. What a day of memories that was. Another memory, back in the day when these bikes were everywhere, and I mean everywhere, you'd stop somewhere and somebody would always ask you, "You want to sell that bike? We want the engine for our drag bike." They were making drag bikes and putting struts on it, doubling the horsepower. These engines are absolutely bulletproof. Another not so good memory is when the clutch cable broke, and it broke not far from home, but I had to go those last couple of miles without a clutch, and that really wasn't that much fun. And over the years, I've come to appreciate the comfort of that seat, especially on a long ride. There's not many bikes that are a lot more comfortable than this bike. And Andy Lee, if you're watching this video, hey, I was kind of glad I didn't sell you the bike back then, but I know you bought the exact twin to it and recently just sold it. Great bikes. And while I was painting the wheels for this bike, Dallas, my good friend who has an 83, he was wondering if he would like the black. I'm glad when it was done, he approved. Some people say it's one of the original super bikes. Well, I don't know about that, but that super bike thing is in the eye of the beholder. But for me, it's just a super motorcycle. In every way, it has stood the test of time so well. Boy, there's not many better memories that I ever had in my life than rides I've had on the GS and trips I've taken and just the daily rides I go on. 77,000 miles, 41 years. This has been one good friend. He's been a loyal friend. And some of the memories are not that good, but I never forget any of them. Now this video is one of the ones I shot with the Sony ZV-1 in 4K. I loaded it to YouTube in 4K. Some people have told me they have trouble getting that setting on their device. I don't, and I don't know why, but you can always go to the settings button and go as high up on the scale as YouTube will allow you. But I do have the ability down in my shop to watch these in 4K, and they really do look nice. So hope you have the same luck too. Anyway, this has just been a great day. I hope you've enjoyed sharing it with me. And all of our videos that we're going to post in the future will almost likely all be in 4K. Enjoy them no matter what. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much for watching.